I'm really excited to tell you about my very first book release from my new publishing imprint, Mercury Inc. It's called Michael Vey, The Prisoner of Cell 25. You are going to love it. Your kids are going to love it. My daughter, who's about 20, she loves Harry Potter, and she's also the one that turned me on to the Twilight series. She read it. I was really nervous. I said, "What do you think?" She said, "Dad, I think it's the Harry Potter of the next generation." It is the book for the generation that is coming up now. It is a fantastic book and a great way to spend some quality time with your children reading and shaping them. I promise you, you're going to enjoy it as much as they do. I put my word on the line. This book is going to be worth every ounce of you and your children's time. Michael Vey, The Prisoner of Cell 25. The Prisoner of Cell 25, Michael Vey. It is a 7-book series written by a friend of mine, Richard Paul Evans, that I have now published. It is the first thing that I have ever done that doesn't have my name anywhere on it, and I like it that way. The only thing I contributed to the book was the name, The Prisoner of Cell 25. This story truly will be one of those stories like Harry Potter or Twilight that defines your child's childhood. You'll be able to take your child all the way through their childhood with this series, and it's one that has values and principles that they'll never see coming, and quite honestly, you don't even notice them until you get down to it and you're reading it, and it's one of those that you just cannot put down, and you'll be reading it, and afterwards you'll say, "Oh, wow, holy cow, what would I have done in that?" And I would wish that I would do that, or my kid would do that in that situation. It's a great story. Michael Vey, Prisoner of Cell 25. Richard Paul Evans is on with us now. It comes out next week, but today only at Barnes & Noble. It's already #1 at Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble is doing a 50% off sale today if you want to get it, because we want to get this into your hands. Richard, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Best book you've written?
You think so?
I do. Do you?
I think it's the funnest book I've ever written. The response, I haven't seen a response like this since the Christmas box, and that sold 8 million copies. So.
We've put 1,000 copies out in the hands of teachers and students. Talk a little bit about what's happened in the different schools that you have sent this book out to teachers and said, "Read this to your class."
Wow, it was amazing. What happened is I have a son with I hate the word disability, but he has Tourette syndrome, and as do I. And he's really been doing great, but he struggles a bit. And so I went to meet with his English teacher, and I thought maybe I'd throw her a bone. I said, "Would you like to read a book I'm working on?" Well, she said, "Well, I'm really busy, but yes, I'd like to." I gave it to her. She called me the next day. She said, "I couldn't put that book down. I'm like reading it between lessons." She goes, "I finished it. I want to teach from this book." So she shared it with 200 students, and she came back and she said, "After 20 years of teaching, I've never seen this." By the third day, kids were coming to school early because she only had one classroom set, and they couldn't take the books home. The kids were coming to school early to read the book. She said, "I had a boy bribe me with his lunch money to take the book home. Parents start calling her saying, 'What is this book my kids are raving about?'"
This is also you've also seen in different schools where kids have gone from D's to A's in English.
In fact, one kid, I did an assembly and I was like a rock star there, and one boy said that he asked me all these really intelligent questions. I thought, what a smart kid. The teacher leaned over. She said, "Straight F's." She goes, "For the first time, he got something other than an F. He's getting a B in English because he's obsessed with Michael Vey." But the thing that really hit me, Glenn, is that my main character, it may be the first time a character has a disability like this, he has Tourette syndrome. Michael Vey has Tourette syndrome. I'm hearing from parents that have children. One wrote me a letter and said, "My son is doing things, he feels powerful for the first time in his life. He's doing things he's never tried before." I had another boy write me. He said, I have Tourette syndrome. I have the same symptoms Michael does. He said, I don't feel like a freak anymore. I feel powerful. I can do what I want with my life.
I have to tell you, though, I don't have Tourette syndrome. I was just a geek. I still am, but I was a geek in school, and I could relate to him being an outcast, being the one that was, beat up or whatever, and holding the line and, trying to fit in and trying to do the right thing at the same time. And it's, you don't have to have a disability or Tourette's to relate to this at all. And the great thing is this is a sci-fi book that you haven't read a sci-fi book. I haven't read a good sci-fi book. I guess, would you put Twilight in sci-fi?
Well, it's interesting. I didn't even think of it as a sci-fi book. I just thought of it as a story. When it started to come to me, it's like, thank goodness it's not vampires, it's not wizards. It's like we've done it to death. It was something that was fresh and original.
And when people find out what is going on in the story, why these kids are being hunted, you're gonna love it. You're going to love the story. Gonna love the story. Richard, I thank you so much for writing it, and I told the story. I hope you don't mind. I told the story where you told me back in January you've just completed it, and you took dictation, and you've just never written anything like this before.
It poured into my mind. I mean, seriously. I'm writing a part. I'm writing like 6,000 words a day, and it's really complex. And I get this one part. I go, this doesn't make sense, and it comes to me. That's for book 4. I'm like, this is incredible.
Are you already on? Have you?
Yeah, the next book is awesome.
Because I know I've read, I think, the first chapter of the next book.
I read it to the kids. They were laughing and shouting by the time I finished the first chapter. It's really scary, the second book. Yeah.
Already today, number 1, Barnes & Noble. That's the only place you can get it today, at Barnes & Noble, and it's today only. It is released to the mass market next week. But if I may make a recommendation, if you have a first edition Twilight, it's worth something. If you have a first edition Harry Potter, it's worth a lot. This is one of those books that I would get the first print run, and I would save it and keep it on your shelf. You might want to buy 2, because this one might be worth something. This is going to, I think, take kids through this next generation. You're going to raise your kids if you have kids that... How old would you say? I've been debating back and forth. Rafe is 7. He's too young for this, you think, to read it to him?
I've had parents tell me that they've read it as low as 6 years old, and their kids loved it. I did have one parent tell me they thought it was a little scary for like a 7, 8-year-old.
Yeah, it is. The ending of it is pretty... I mean, it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. But you're going to love it. As a parent, I promise you will love it. As a kid, I promise you your kids are going to love it as well. Prisoner of Cell 25, series Michael Vey, episode number 1, available at Barnes & Noble today, half price, and today only. Thank you very much, Richard. We'll talk to you again.
My pleasure. Thanks, Glenn.
You bet. Back in just a second.